Last week, at the Dover Motor Speedway, we saw some of the best drivers of the series run up front. But alas, the curse of 2024 in the Wawa Cup Series struck Matt Tuck. He was coming to 2 laps to go as the dominant race leader, and they didn't put enough fuel in the tank. Well, something crazy happened again here tonight. It's the Kansas Speedway on a Friday night. This is where the Drew Webb era began 1 year ago, and he starts 9th here tonight for this one. We also got Matt Tuck looking to gain some revenge after what happened last week. Our last winner, Kirsten Bell, in the top 10 as well. And just to let you know, this is a wild racetrack under the lights here. With all the grip we've got, these guys will be going all over the place. It's the Great Wolf Lodge 400 here on a Friday night, here at the Kansas Speedway in the 2024 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the beginning of 5 straight Friday night Wawa Cup Series races. We're going to be rolling through the month of May, every Friday in the month of May on Friday night. How about that? We got Kansas here tonight, Auto Club next weekend, North Wilkesboro, the Coke 600, and then Gateway, all in the month of May, all on Friday night. And we're going to have some fun with these races because we're only 8 races left to go until the cutoff here for the Wawa Cup Series chase. And you know what? This is where that Drew Webb era started last year. This was the race that Drew Webb finally broke through, got his first career win on the channel, and the rest was history from there. But he's going to have some stiff competition here tonight, especially with our Texas winner Blaine Key starting on the pole, the dominant driver from last week, Matt Tuck, starting outside, Kirsten Bell, a 2-time winner this season, starting ahead there. How about both NS cars in the top 10 as well? Going to be very fun to see how it all goes down. General alongside one of the owners here, Terry Larvin Alonso. It's been a while since you've called a race with me, but hey, obviously you've seen how the season has gone, and your 2 drivers have both gone to victory lane this season with Trey Bartow and Avery Alford. Unfortunately for them, they start a little bit deeper in the field here in this race tonight and on the outside lane. So with that in mind, how do you think this race is going to play out for certain guys to start in the back? And knowing we got these stronger guys starting up front here tonight in this Great Wolf Lodge 400.
Well, we've seen the races before here at Kansas, and then, well, we obviously do have some frequent passes. So probably we're going to see the cycle, but with the ratings in as a factor tonight, well, there were obviously I would say around a cycle between the top 15 guys, or obviously the guys who do their ratings weekly or consistently do their ratings, but. Yeah, well, as for I would say when it comes to Drew Webb, well, as you mentioned, when last year it was the Drew Webb era, but let's see his if some of the top guys' ratings are going to kick into the factor to see if they're going to finish in the top 10 consistently, or maybe even win the race.
Of course, last week we saw our first driver win her second race of the season, I should say. First driver to win multiple races this season with Kirsten Bell. And there's a very good chance we can keep that streak up here tonight with Blaine Keys, with Kirsten Bell starting top 10. But you also have some other guys here who are looking for their first wins of the season who could very well pull it off, like Matt Tuck, like Logan Williams in the 95, and like Drew Webb in the 99. Also, don't count out Rogel Dorn there, Travis Crampton, Justin Zeidel. I'm looking at that top 10, I'm thinking the winner's got to come from the top 10. Well, hey, you know what? Last week things were a little bit crazy in terms of where everyone came from, but we definitely saw drivers who we expected to run well this season run up front. And I think we're going to see the same here tonight. We're going to see it next week. We'll probably see it in North Wilkesboro, and we'll see it in the 600. And we're getting to that point where you got to be on par with the ratings. You got to do them. And hey, I know I'm not doing that reminder on Tuesday, so you got to really keep up with it when it goes up on Sunday. So just got to keep up with it. Looking at you, Stuart. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, here's how they line up in the points after 12 races, and Thomas Troxel for Pacific Racing, our Talladega winner, 95 points ahead of the cutoff. 8 races left to go, and if he can continue to finish top 10, obviously it's looking like Troxel's going to be in the chase. It'd take something pretty insane for him to not make it. Trey Bartow, your driver here, there, second in the points, 52 ahead. Didn't have the best of runs at Dover last week, but he's still having a lot of strong runs there in that 4 machine. Definitely a great driver. Blaine Keys, I think he's definitely one of the strongest drivers on these speedways, especially he's 45 ahead. Rogel Dorn, Very good season for him. Of course, last year he was with a team that really didn't do their ratings at all. He's with a much better team this year, and he is coming into this race 40 points ahead with a win. Brian Webb, 28 points ahead there. Has had a pretty consistent season, but has had some issues as of late. Angel Gutierrez had an issue last week at Dover. He's 16 points ahead of the cutoff. How about Daniel Paulus Jr. this season? Can't say enough about Daniel this season. Got that win in Atlanta and has been able to keep himself in the top 10 up to this point. He starts deep in the field, but if he can get another good run here, he may very well have a shot being a dark horse for the title. He's 12 points ahead there. Matt Tuck's 11 ahead, and then it's Drew Webb and Jack Haas, both 2 points ahead of the cutoff right there. But Drew Webb has been creeping up in this championship battle, and he has consistently been running up front. Now, last week he was one of those guys who did not put enough fuel on the tank near the end there, and he lost a lot of ground. He would have been much higher in the chase, and same with Matt Tuck if that did not happen. But you know what? Great way to rebound here under the lights of Kansas. Ledovic's right 2 points behind. Watch out for Ledovic. He could crack the top 10 here tonight. And Nicholas Samadio was well there. He starts deep in the field, but on the inside, 10 points behind. Brady Mardi Gras, 14 behind. Our last winner, Kirsten Bell's 22 behind. Matthew Hubert's had a great season. He's 23 behind. And you got Braden Perez there, 26 behind as well. And then the wild card's still between just Kirsten Bell, LJ Semedo, and Avery Alford. And Bell and Semedo clearly have it on Alford, which I know you don't like to see, Hair Jill. But hey, you know what? Opening race of the season at Homestead, mile and a half under lights Friday night. Alfred might pull something off here. I know it's not been the best of seasons for him, but you know what? He still got that win and can still pull off the wild card if things go his way. All right, let's go and get these guys to roll off here from the Kansas Speedway. It's Blaine Keys and Matt Tuck on the front row. And right behind those guys, you got Andrew Miller and Logan Williams. Of course, Logan Williams looking to get his first win of the season. Of course, he's a great driver, but still struggling here to begin this year off. Rogel and Kirsten Bell, a couple of past winners so far this year already. We got Justin Zidell and Travis Crampton there in row 4. And then, of course, last year's winner of this race, since the Drew Webb era started. Of course, he's still looking for his first win of the season. Hey, it might happen here tonight at Kansas. He's to the inside there of Laura Chung. Make sure everyone's rolling off all right. And Hair Gel, who do you think's going to get it done here tonight in this Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas?
Well, I believe, I'm going to say NS Racing is going to have a turn around this part of the season, so it's probably either one of those two guys, but I would say it's going to be Travis Crampton in the number 98.
Very solid pick. Of course, Crampton won Las Vegas last year. That's his only Wawa Cup Series race victory to date. Of course, he came close at Coda, and he blew a tire on the last lap and couldn't get it done. Well, Blaine Keys looking to get his second win of the season. He won Texas earlier on. Matt Tuck looking for some revenge. Who knows how it's all going to go down, but we're here on a Friday night. We're Green Flag Racing in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas. Well, how about Drew Webb right there? He's already battling for second place after he dove to the inside the start of that race, and now he's going to take second away. Matt Tuck slipping back in the 54 right there, and this is a treacherous place. You do not want to get shuffled back too far, and hey, something happens in front of you, a wreck occurs, and it's hard to avoid. But how about Blaine Keys, the Texas winner, looking to pick up where he left off on these mile-and-a-half racetracks, and you know what? He's got a good chance tonight, but he's got to fend off for defending champion to Drew Webb. How about Bryce Egan there in the 69? What a great run for him in some of these races, racing with these guys. I know he's 32nd in points, but you know what? He's still a solid driver, and I think those good results will start to kick in at some point. As we got Drew Webb looking to the inside for the race lead, and he's looking to pick up where he left off here from Kansas. And it looks like he's going to take it away here on lap 3.
Well, Drew Webb, we all know this might actually kick in the Drew Webb era where, magical things happen, as Bryce Egan might actually go to the inside, and there's Balthazar Steve in the number 11, which is impressive for a Sprint Series driver who's now inside the top 5.
And how about those Ground Auto Sport cars? Of course, Balthazar Steep won on Tuesday night at the Armory Digital Super Speedway, and apparently you told me that was the last time you were in the booth with me, was the Armory Digital Turkey Hill National Series race back in 21, so hopefully it wasn't as crazy as that one. Hopefully it won't be as crazy as that one, but You know, you were talking about them being pack racing here tonight. Well, they're all on each other right here as Drew Webb continues to lead, but they have not pulled away from each other as Blaine Keys moves to the inside of Bryce Egan there for second. And LJ Cement, how about Laura Chung up here in sixth? Bruno Diacomo, Rogel Dorn, Matthew Huber. How about Nicholas Samedea moving his way up with Ladova Trett, Matt Tuck, and Thomas Troxel? How about those four guys just outside the top 10 as Troxel slips up and Philip Torre is trying to get an advantage on the 62. Back up to the lead, it's Drew Webb starting to put a little bit of a gap on Blaine Keys. That Baltazar steep. How about this 11? That's a Sprint Series driver, folks, taking second away from the Texas winner.
I would say this is probably a David versus Goliath battle here with Baltazar Steve. Well, he might actually close into up front considering his machinery from Graden All Sport. You know what? We could probably see the second Sprint Series driver to win a Wawa Cup Series race.
This season. Which has happened twice before in the history of the Wawa Cup Series, both with Appalachian Motorsports, Sam Manowskin last year at Dover, and of course, Alexander at Phoenix earlier this year. How about Bruno Diacomo? You know, he needs a good season. He needs a good run, I should say. 29th in points for him coming into this race. Obviously, regained a lot of that last week at Dover. Finished top 10 there. And you know what? He's struggling there at Trinity Road Racing. His teammate Jesse Turner. We expected much better things out of Turner this season. It has not been a good season for the Season 2 Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. How about Nicholas Samedea, though? This is a guy, I mean, Bristol, man. Yeah, that was about as close as you possibly could get to winning a race and not actually do it. I mean, Matt Tuck knows that similar pain as well, and both of these guys are going to be charging through this field here tonight, trying to get the Drew Webb. And you know what? We've seen the past few weeks Drew Webb really pick up the pace and really consistently run up front. Now, last week he should have finished a lot better than he ended up finishing, but he comes into this race 2 points ahead of the cutoff, which is a much better position than he was in at this point last year. And then once he won this race last year, he almost won the regular season title. So Thomas Troxel better watch out. He's got 95 points on the field and 93 specifically on Drew Webb, but, you know, 10 points, 20 points a race, and Drew Webb's right in the mix there. Of course, Troxel did win that regular season title, but he tied with Drew Webb at the end of the regular season last year. And Troxel right now struggling a bit in the 18th position, so not exactly the best run for him. As Bryce Egan goes a little bit wide there as Blaine Keys used a force on him to take third. This race is going up May the 4th, isn't it? I didn't even realize that. Nope, it's May the 3rd. Okay, I saved myself there from, yeah, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Never mind.
Congratulations. But hey,
it's May the 4th for you when this goes up, so never mind.
Yeah. But we're not really a fan of Star Wars. But anyway, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, never mind. Anyways.
Well, but yeah, still a single file racing with these guys. But you know, with the tire starting to degrade, I would probably see Drew Webb still maintaining the lead for the next 6 to 8 laps here. But going back out there, well, I believe the top 10 are now entirely single file, as we do have ourselves a close between Matt Tuck and Nicholas Samedea. And here it is, coming to the inside, Matt Tuck with his Celsius Crusader. I don't know if it's still a thing, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He's in upper 8.
It's still a thing. Hey, Bryce Egan trying to get back on Blaine Keys. You got out of line there from Diacomo and Rogel Dorn. You watch out for Rogel Dorn in this race here tonight. I know you two had a bit of a disagreement on the off-season there, but you know what? Rogel's definitely found some success there. Hamill Racing Enterprises as... no, I thought I saw those guys slow down there for just a second. Brad Stover in the 88. That might have been why they peaked out a little bit. I think he may have had a tire go down and stopped on the racetrack, and that's a tough break for Brad Stover, who, you know, I tell you, that Nathan Orman Motorsports team, they've had a lot of bad luck this season. Has not gone their way. I tell you what, man, it's been a long day for me. Matt Tuck around Matthew Huber to Samedea out of line a little bit as Laura Chung, LJ Cemento get around him. Of course, this race is now starting to feel a little bit like last year's race. Remember, Tanner Parton dominated the first part of last year's race, but then after the cycle happened, it was a battle between Troxel and Drew Webb, and obviously those two guys ended up being two of the best all season. And this is definitely a track where I would expect the best drivers to run up front. And we are seeing that, obviously. Blaine Keys, we got the 54 there on Matt Tuck. We got Drew Webb up front. Diacomo, once again, another great run for him. And, you know what? He won the Smooth Fest earlier this year. He might find some speed as the season continues to move on. And all you need is a win to have a shot at the wild card. So we'll have to see if he can get one done before the end of these 8 races. Now, how about Baltazar Steep still hanging on the second here in this number 11 for Grattan Autosport. However, I do feel like the driver rating right there. That's driver ratings right there. Him going to the outside wall. That's going to allow Diacomo and Rogel Dorn to get around him. That might open the door for Blaine Keys and Matt Tuck. And this 54 is fast. Fell back initially, but now he's up to the 7th position there in that 54 machine in the Celsius Crusader.
Well, when we saw both Bruno Di Giacomo and Rogel Dorn battling for... Ooh, here we go. Looks like Rogel Dorn to the inside.
He's got it.
Bruno Di Giacomo. Well, you know this, guys. Well, both of them are teammates over at my team in the Turkey Hill Truck Series last year rather, but you know what? Looks like they are trying to catch into Drew Webb as Rogel Dorn. You know, Hamel Racing Enterprises is currently leading the team owner standings right now, so they might actually extend that one with Rogel Dorn's performance.
Yeah, very well could. I don't know where Mardi Gras is running right now, but you know, Rogel Dorn has definitely been carrying the team. And hey, Mardi Gras had a great season as well, but you know, Rogel Dorn is definitely a contender for the championship. No doubt about it. The way he has run this season, obviously his one win came kind of out of the benefit of a tire going down at Coda. But he has shown a lot of consistency on these speedways, and even last week as well, he had a pretty solid run at Dover. And you know what? Rogel's going to have a shot at this win here tonight, but you got Blaine Keys up here as well, who won Texas. And remember, at Las Vegas, Blaine Keys was the dominant guy in that race before he had a problem that took him out of contention. That gave the win to Kirsten Bell. Hey, both of Kirsten Bell's wins have come on for misfortune from somebody else. Speaking of our last winner, she's midway through the field right now in the 17th position. Got the win last week at Dover. First driver in the wild card race right now, trying to get him to the top 10. She comes into this race 22 behind that cutoff, and you know, needs a slightly better run than this to really make that work. But how about our points leader, Thomas Troxel, down in 19th? He was much better last year in this race than he is right now. I'm not sure what's up there with that Pacific Racing Toyota. Crampton a little bit deep in the field right there in the 98-year pick to win. There's Daniel Paulus Jr. there in 24th. There's Fitzwater, Logan Williams kind of struggling here tonight. Not a good day for your guys. Trey Bartow there is 29th right now. Not entirely sure what's going on with him. Of course, got the win at Rockingham about a month ago. And
well,
what we got here?
Obviously,
in the back.
Obviously, some guys.
Miller. Yikes! He started third, didn't he? Not a good day for Andrew Miller. And then there's Tanner Parton, who was, like I said, was dominant in this race a year ago. He is really deep in the field in that 18 machine. And once again, just a tough run for Nathan Norman Motorsports. Oh, boy. Blaine Keys on Rogel Dorn.
Ooh.
That was an aggressive move right there, and Rogel might not be too happy about that. But you know what? Blaine Keys, he's an aggressive driver, and he wants to bite on Trey Barcher for that second position in points and close in on Troxel for the points lead. But Rogel's going to get a run on the outside. Blanky's really had to check up on the inside lane right there, and Bolts are going to get a run. Same with Diacomo, and don't watch out, or don't look now, but here comes Matt Tuck in the 54. Laura Chung, Nicholas Samadeo, LJ Cemento, Bryce Egan the top 10, and Ludovic Charette trying to get into the top 10 in points there in 11th.
Well, with this guy's currently running, and the current position of Blaine Keys and Trey Bartow right now, I would say maybe Blaine Keys would be it would be possible for him to take second place in the standings right now, as we do have some little bit of chaos from third to as Baltazar Steep fell back, but Laura Chung is now up there. I know she can do something that may make this race interesting. I know that.
We'll have to see. She had a good run at Rockingham earlier this season and could have won that race if things played out differently. But you know what? Laura Chung's found some speed, and she's 22nd in points. She's not too far behind. A race win puts her in the wild card, and she could be a dark horse to make the chase. She's, remember when she came into the channel, Turkey Hill Truck Series 2022. She won 4 races that year, and she didn't win the championship that year. That was Sebastian Kukulon, but she was in contention all the way to the end with Kukulon that year. And we thought, oh man, she's going to be great in these rating series. And then drove for Everbell Motorsports last year. And we all know that story. With a better team this year, I won't say Cohen's the top team in the series. But they are a team that knows what they're doing to an extent. They don't have the results to show for it like some of the other teams. But you know what? Laura Chung, Roberto Crown Jr., they're 22nd, 21st respectively. Not too bad this way in the season. If they can start racking up some top 10s, And they may have a good shot. Hey, I know you like to see this. How about Avery Alford in the 52? That is, I believe, for the 12th position right there, as Baltazar Chief continues to fade in the 11 machine. You also got the 50 there of Michael Lewis running well for Appalachian Motorsports. And Angel Gutierrez, Braden Perez right back in there as well. Jack Haas is 17th, the Martinsville winner, who sits 2 points ahead of the cutoff right now. And Baltazar Steep, that's the second time he's hit that outside wall tonight. He's struggling a little bit out here. Of course, the Sprint Series guys were not on this racetrack. Oh boy, here we go. Right there. Right there. That's all you gotta do. We do it every single week. Blaine Keys to the inside of Drew Webb, as also Matt Tuck got shuffled out of line. He's falling back. And now Rogel trying to get around this 41, and look at this. Laura Chung up to 4th, Nicholas Samadio up to 5th, and for the race lead again, Rogel on Blaine Keys. And you know what? We're closing in on a cycle of pit stops right here. Got ourselves about a 35 to 36 lap fuel run right past halfway. Now, I'm not expecting these guys to do the same thing they did last week, but you know what? As long as we can get past halfway, we should be good on fuel. Rogel now out front here at Kansas.
Well, once we close into that pit cycle, I would say, well, maybe Rogel would have a little bit of advantage here, but who knows here, as Drew Webb is still right there, right behind Rogel, maybe going to attempt to the inside, but they're still single file, you know. Also, I want to discuss that I saw earlier that Bruno Di Giacomo actually fell back a bit here, and he's continuing to fall back as Avery Alford enters the top 10 conversation, and there's Matthew Hubert as well.
And you know, Matthew Hubert's another guy who's had a lot of strong runs this season. He's much higher in the points too, so he could definitely have a shot in making the chase the way things are going. How about Ludovic Charette? He's finding some speed late in the going. Hey, he finished second last week at Dover. And you know what I was saying? Grind Autosport, they can have a 1-2. They can get Ludovic Charette in the top 2. In second place, but be careful what you wish for. Well, he ended up getting second place, but it's because his teammate came down the pit lane right there. So I know Stewart would love to get another double top 10. Of course, last time on the mile and a half, they went double top 5. Drew Webb back to the inside of Rogel. You can't keep Drew Webb from the lead too long. And, you know, as these tires were out, these guys really started shuffling around here. Now, pit stop's going to come up. That's going to be critical of where you end up in this race. You know, watch out for some of these guys like Nicholas Samadio, LJ Semedo. You know, LJ's been, you know, quietly in this 6th position like all race long. You know, he could find his way to a good finish here tonight, which is great for him in the wild card race, especially considering he's ahead of Kirsten Bell right now. Nicholas Samadio on Blaine Keys, that is for 4th. How about Laura Chung there running in the 3rd position? She could be a threat to win this race, as Ladovic's going to get a run on LJ, and same with Matt Tuck. Grand Autosport teammates helping each other out there in the inside lane. These guys are going to be coming down the pit lane here in just a couple of laps, just past halfway. And it's going to be very interesting to see who gets the advantage once it all cycles through.
You know, we haven't discussed this that much. That it was honestly, it's a good thing that Nicolas Samadio is now right there in 4th. Maybe Mr. Edge would finally get his first Wawa Cup Series win in quite some time. No, sorry. Technically, yeah. What?
Oh, man.
I still have...
Yeah, I mean, I know, but the commentator's jinx is very real here. I mean, obviously. I feel like the luckiest guy is Nathan Stapleton. I think he's like the one guy who can actually pick a driver to win, and they actually run well. Everybody else, I mean, you picked, who? Travis Crampton to win this thing, and where is he running right now? I mean, yeah, 21st. I mean, it could be a lot better for him. Hey, back in there as well as Troxel. He continues to fall back. Not a good day for him, but he will still remain the points leader regardless. And I tell you, these guys are right on each other here. And, you know, I say that in regards to how many times Nicholas Samadio has finished second. He's come so close to winning in this series. It just feels like, man, what's going to happen to keep it away from him? Of course, hey, a second-place run, I think, is something that he would be thankful for. He sits 12 points, or should I say 10 points, behind the cutoff coming into this race. I'm sure that Caleb would love to just see him finish top 5 in this one, but of course a race win would be huge for Mr. Edge there, looking for his 26th career win on the channel. But Drew Webb's looking for his 7th Wawa Cup Series race win here tonight. We are now past halfway, so the window is open. See if anybody came down that time. Not quite yet, but these guys are going to be coming down here in just a couple of laps here as Rogel is trying to battle with Drew Webb for this race lead.
Well, surprisingly, well, Well, we know both
Oh, and
Hamel Racing
Rogel's
are
gonna come
prices
down
and
here.
Cycles in
And, you know, that's a good
Rogaldorn. Let's see
decision.
if the other drivers.
That's a
Yeah.
good
Let's see
decision to
if other
come down
drivers can
early, I
actually
feel
do
like,
it.
because, I don't know if we're seeing it too much on the racetrack right now, but tire wear definitely a big key. Now, granted, this run, if it stays green, it's going to be pretty long, so it may end up playing in the favor of the guys who stay out longer. They may have the fresher tires, and that's something that we were talking about last week at Dover when Kirsten Bell was chasing Matt Tuck. Well, it turned out to work for Kirsten Bell because she had more fuel in her car, but it ended up playing in Matt Tuck's favor until that. Oh, boy, these guys have to be careful, though, with the entry. It looks like Drew Webb's coming down, and so will Laura Chung, Matt Tuck, Bryce Egan back in there. And of course, the waiver round's still in effect if we do get a caution here on the racetrack, which hopefully we will not. I'd like to see these guys cycle through. Ladovic Shrek continuing to lead here at Kansas, or he just took the lead away from Drew Webb right there as they cycle through in the back of the field. Looks like Blaine Key's also down the pit lane as well, but Drew Webb in the 99 is going to be a 4-tire stop for these guys, I would imagine. And will be the one and only stop, and should be the one and only stop for these guys. And you know they're going to pack it full of fuel here after what happened last week at Dover. So number 99 here, Drew Webb. 4 tires for him. He's going to get out well ahead, or will he? Laura Chung not too far behind. He's got to be careful with Andrew Miller right there. And Matt Tuck in the 54 is a bit of a slow stop for him, but he's still going to be in contention to drive himself through this field, and he's definitely a driver who can do that. Rest of the guys coming down right here. Nicholas Sambadio in the 59. They're taking 4 tires on that machine. And then Ladovic Charette, who was the leader when they came down initially, going to be a 4-tire stop for him as well. And we'll see where Ladovic comes out in relation here. Where's Rogaldorn in the 74 in relation to Drew Webb right now? That's the big question. As they come to cycle around right here, and Drew Webb got him clean off that exit right there. How about this 99? And will this be the race again where it all starts for Drew Webb? We'll have to see. He's getting around Sambadio. There's Ladovic Charette, you know. It's not over yet for Ladovic and Nicholas and Rogaldorn. I think one of these 4 is going to get the win here tonight. Maybe Laura Chung. But Drew Webb trying to get as far away from these guys as he possibly can as he clears Brad Stover, puts him another lap down, and the cycle's done, and Drew Webb is leading the field here at Kansas.
Well, with how Drew Webb's running right now, well, I believe this is probably the version 2 of the Drew Webb era. No, there's no Swifty shades whatsoever. But yeah, Drew Webb would possibly be able to manage to hold on as there's Brad Stover in the middle of him and Rogaldorn. So it would be, I would say Drew Webb would have an advantage over there because you know what? But no, not anymore, as we all know how Rogaldorn is looking faster as he's going to go past Brad Stover. So let's see if we can get closer into Drew Webb.
This is going to be an interesting race because I think that 74 is going to close in, but then Ladovic and Nicholas, they're going to end up with a slight advantage near the end of this run on Drew Webb with the tire wear. Just a slight advantage. They're all going to get around Brad Stover cleanly. Laura Chung, by the way, is 5th. Then it's Avery Alford in 6th. Great run for Avery in this race. This is a lot what we saw at Homestead. Where has that been all season, Hairgel? Maybe you can answer that question. How about Michael Lewis, top 10 there for Appalachian Motorsports? Great run for him. Bryce Egan, Matt Tuck still a top 10, and then Braden Perez up there in the 10th position. Cemento fell back to 12th right there. Blaine Keys. Oh boy, what happened to our man? That was not a good pit stop, and he's down in 29th battling with Chase Buck and Jesse Turner, who, if this was a year ago, I'd say that's a good battle, but the way Buck and Turner's seasons have gone, that's not necessarily a good position to be in. Troxel also 27th. Not a good day there for Pacific Racing. You got Kirsten Bell there in 24th. Our last winner. Hey, Bartow's recovered pretty well, though. Solid run for you guys there, considering where he was up to 22nd. We'll see if he cracks the top 20. And Rogaldorn is now about a half a second behind Drew Webb. And Ladovic and Nicholas are right there, and all 4 of these guys are going to be going for this win here at Kansas.
Well, I believe, is there a lap car in front of Drew Webb? I'm not really sure if I see it right. Oh, yeah,
Daniel
it's
Paulus Jr., who is still on the lead lap on the tail end. Justin Zeidel, 4 laps down. Not entirely sure how that occurred, and then Brad Stover, 5 laps down, and that 74 is flying. Right on the back bumper at Drew Webb now. 10th of a second And I think next time by we'll have a new race leader. As a matter of fact, right here, Rogaldorn trying to take it away from Drew Webb. But then Ludovic Charette and Nicholas Amadio are also closing in. If these guys stay side by side, bring them in enough, I should say. You're going to have a 4-horse race here at Kansas.
And there's a moving chicane of Daniel Pauls Jr. Let's see if he can be the factor here when Drew Webb and Rogaldorn are going to battle for the lead here. But, you know, still kudos to Trackhouse Racing after a massive improvement from last season until this season. Well, I know there's a lot of things going around with Trackhouse Racing, but here it is. Here's Drew Webb. Let's see if he can go to the inside, and they almost make contact.
Yeah, 24 still up to speed. I think he may have just had a slow stop. Obviously a good season for Daniel Pauls Jr. Oh, and Roll ain't going to be happy with him on that one. But Daniel Pauls Jr. definitely a great season for him. 7th coming into this race in the points, but it doesn't look like he's going to stay there after this one, as he is all the way down to 38th right now. And how about that? How about that push that Ludovic gave Rogaldorn for the race lead? And you know what? You got two guys here, Ludovic Charette and Nicholas Amadio. Ludovic going for his first ever Wawa Cup Series win, and so is Nicholas Amadio. And I think both of them want it just as bad as the other, but they got Drew Webb and Rogaldorn right here with them. And these are 4 guys who very well all could be in contention for the championship, as Rogal's going to take the lead away from Drew Webb and Nicholas Amadio, Mr. Edge. He found that edge, and he's going to take second. He might go for the lead here on this 74. And how about Ludovic on these guys that are all under a blanket here coming to 20 to go?
Wait, who's the jinx again? Who's the jinx?
We still got 20. You know, when Nicholas Amadio blew his engine at Bristol, it was coming to the white flag. You know that, right? 20 laps to go, dude.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. As he's coming close to Rogaldorn.
He's got it here. He's got it here on Rogel. And to the race lead. And, you know, this was a guy who was up front in this race a lot last year as well. Nicholas Amadio to the race lead here at Kansas. And Ludovic Charette follows suit behind. Drew Webb is still stuck behind Daniel Pauls Jr. Oh, boy, they're going to split him.
Ooh, 3 wide. 3 wide out there.
And trying to get there to the inside. He's got it. Rogaldorn, though, on the outside lane. Oh boy, and they're going to remain 3 wide. And now look at this. These were the 2 guys who came in later than Rogel and Drew, and I think their advantage is at its peak right now. Nicholas Amadio and Ludovic Charette right there in line, and they're going to be the 2 who battle for this win if those guys continue the battle, and they will continue the battle. Here comes Drew Webb back for 3rd on Rogaldorn. They're starting to slip up just a little bit there from our race leaders.
Well, with the way these guys are, with the way Drew Webb and Rogaldorn are battling, well, it would give the advantage to Nicholas Amadio and Ludovic Charette. And Ludovic Charette to the inside of Nicholas Amadio for the lead. And there they went clear, so new leader, car number 51.
And how about Ludovic Charette? He led a lot of laps at Texas. As a matter of fact, I think he led the most laps at Texas. Led a lot last week at Dover. This is a Ludovic Charette that we expected going into this season, and we are now seeing it here, and tonight could be his night. Will this be the start of the Ludovic Charette era? Because this was the first win for Drew Webb last year, and we all know how that went. Will Ludovic be the one who gets it done? Amadio slipping back just a little bit right here, and his best friend, his greatest rival, Drew Webb right there, right behind him. These 2 finished 1-2 more times than I can count last year. And, you know, just one of those races, it would have gone to Amadio in terms of the championship. You know how close he was last year? He only lost it by 2 points on Drew Webb. And if he had won that Gateway race, man, and he was so close to doing that, he would have been the champion. Drew Webb's going to take second from him, though. That 59 may have gotten out ahead just a little too early, used up his tires, and I think that might be the disadvantage he's at right now, because Ludovic's pulling away in this 51, and Drew Webb right there is taking second back away from him, but they can't seem to get around each other. Or at least pull away from each other, I should say, as they're closing in on lap traffic again with Roberto Crown Jr. up ahead. Lord Chung's 5th. Jack Haas is up to 6th, by the way. Angel Gutierrez, another top 10 run for him there in 7th. Michael Lewis with these guys. Bryce Egan, Brain Perez, Matt Tuck just outside the top 10. LJ Semedo, Avery Alford, Bruno Diacomo, Baltazar Steep, Logan Williams, Brady Mardigras, Zachary Fitzwater, Philip Torres, Seth Cole, Trey Bartow, Matthew Hubert, Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, Brian Webb, Thomas Troxel, Bernardo Oliveira, Chase Buck, Blaine Keys down in 29th. Tanner Parton, Jesse Turner, Justin Zeidel's multiple laps down, Andrew Miller, Sam Anazkin, Ace Garcia, again, another horrific run for that team. And then Ludovic Charette has just lapped Roberto Crown Jr. in the 5, and Ludovic is starting to pull away from Drew Webb as he's got 7/10 on him. We still have ourselves 13 laps to go here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas.
Wow, but you know, man, you gotta feel bad for Ace Garcia, like, be able to finish in the top 10 and...
What? We can't hear you.
Oh, man. Okay. Oh.
I think
sorry,
you moved
my
away
mic
from your
wasn't...
mic a little too much there, man. Yeah, you gotta feel bad for Ace Garcia, man. You gotta feel so bad that you gotta be quiet talking about it. I tell you, these guys, I mean, this is just a bad run, but he's had a lot of times where he's just wrecked out. And that's kind of been the down bad for him this year, but once again, another finish outside the top 35, it looks like, for Ace Garcia.
Well, Drew Webb and Nicolas Samadio were able to go past Roberto Crown Jr., but here you go. Well, Ludovic Charette to the inside of... Let's see if we can get past Ace Garcia, and looks like that's going to be the case here. As here we go, we are entering 11 laps to go. We're coming to the denouement of the race.
Gonna be a very interesting finish here, because Drew Webb closed back in there on the 51 machine. And it was 7/10. It's now down to 4/10 for Drew Webb. And you know what? This 99 looking pretty strong right now. And Nicolas Samadio, I think he's just trying to stay close enough to that 99 where they battle and he has a shot at splitting them. Because I think that's his only chance at this point. But then again, he's going to... Wow! He just found the right line. He's going to take second right away from Drew Webb. And now he's going to try to get on Ludovic here. Sam Anazkin up ahead in the 73, about to be lapped. And what a battle we got shaping up here. And like I said, these are 4 guys, these top 4, who very well could be 4 guys who are in championship contention come Labor Day weekend at Darlington. Because these are 4 guys who, you know, while Samadio and Drew Webb haven't gone off to the best starts, and same with Ludovic Charette, they have, in recent weeks, really shown a lot of speed, and especially Ludovic and Drew Webb. And here they are with a great shot. Especially that 51 Ludovic Charette getting his first career Wawa Cup Series win. Remember what he did with Andrews Racing last year. Was in championship contention going into that final race in that 61 machine with no wins. Came out of nowhere, essentially. Was the last guy to sign up last year. And here he is with Groton Autosport here, with 8 laps to go, looking to get his first career win. But hey, Groton Autosport dominating near the end of the race last week, and we all know what happened there. And if this season is any season to tell you, it ain't over until it is freaking over.
Oh, you know how much Kansas produces. You know how much Kansas produces magical races. Well, so I'm sure if Ludovic Charette would be able to pull away from Nicolas Samadio and Drew Webb, well, maybe we would probably see the first win for Ludovic Charette. But with this guys, the way they battle, they would still be able to close, but maybe a little bit too late, as Ludovic Charette is now out of here. I think he had a larger gap than the last lap.
And these guys continue the battle for second as well, which also is hurting their momentum and their progress in trying to close in on this 51 right here. Ludovic trying to get around Sam Anazkin. He's got to be careful with this, and we might have a bit of a poor entry there on that 73, which might slow him down a bit. But you know what? It's looking more and more likely for this 51. Assuming nothing goofy happens, and we didn't think anything goofy was going to happen last week. We didn't think anything goofy was going to happen at Bristol. We didn't think anything goofy was going to happen at COTA. And I'm sure there's another race in there that I'm forgetting. I'm thinking it happened another time. I can't remember, honestly. It's just been that type of a season. Hey, Texas was a good normal race, and hey, you know what? So far, we only got 5 laps to go, and we're closing in on the point of no return as well, which is even better for Ludovic Charette, because then that means that Drew Webb and Nicolas Samadio will have to drive up to him if they're going to have any chance. But he's got a second now on those guys, and he's got to get around Brad Stover right here if he's going to have really seal it here at Kansas. Drew Webb's going to try to get around Oskin here, though. Ooh, he closed in. He closed in there. We'll have to see.
Well, with this guys, come on. Well, Ludovic Charette now going past again Brad Stover. You know, Brad Stover has been an incredible lap car right now. But at least it wasn't even a factor
Boy.
when I believe Drew Webb closed up.
Oh, he
But I
did.
think he's going to be
Oh man, and you know Ludovic had some trouble getting around Brad Stover right there, and Drew Webb shaved it in a half right there. And you know what? This race ain't over yet, guys. We got 2.5 laps to go, and Drew Webb starting to close back in on Ludovic Charette. Oh my, oh my, is he gonna break hearts again? We'll have to see. That 99's in the wake now, and that is huge. And, you know, it's not like a real Cup Series car. These guys, they get a bit of that draft, and they close right in here at Kansas. 2 laps to go for Ludovic Charette, trying to hold off Drew Webb for this race win. And you know what? Nicholas Samadio hopes they get side-by-side on this lap, because that's his only chance of winning this race. And you know what? They might get side-by-side on this lap. How about this 99? Oh. Drew Webb trying to get to the inside of Ludovic Charette for the race lead here at Kansas. Not quite yet. And it's going to be the white flag next time by here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 for the Canadian. White flag for Ludovic Charette and Grattan Autosport here. Drew Webb has one more shot to take it away from him.
Well, 1.5 miles left, and there's Jesse Turner in their way. Let's see if this is a chess match now. They are going to close. They might be going to side by side, and Drew Webb is still there if something happened between these two. And looks like Ludovic is going to pass Jesse Turner plainly right there.
That was a good pass right there, but Drew Webb's going to have one more shot. No, Ludovic powers it in, and that's enough to seal it. He's finally going to get a Cup Series win. Ludovic Charette wins the Great Wolf Lodge 400 here at Kansas. Oh my goodness. He got it. And they officially got it this time.
Last 4 Great Wolf Lodge 400 winners. Alonso, Williams, Webb, now Charette. This is going to be magical after this race. So, felicitación to Ludovic Charette for that amazing win.
He finally got it. And you know what? Just like with Drew Webb, and we were talking to Drew Webb early on in the season last year as well, but when he finally got that first win, he just kept on going off later on. Ludovic Charette, that ain't going to be his first win, his only win of this year. Just hear me out right now. That 51's going to go back to victory lane before this year is over. And his teammate finished 11th, not too bad for Grattan Autosport as a whole. Obviously, they got the win. That is the huge one right there, and you know what? What a week for Ludovic, because his driver, Baltazar Steep over there in the Hers Sprint Series, got the win there in the Armory Digital 250, and he gets the win himself here at Kansas in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 ahead of Drew Webb and Nicholas Samadio. And that right there, my friends, that right there is why we have the ratings in this series. Because you know what? You know how fun it is to see some of the best drivers go after it in a normal race. That was brilliant. And look at that top 5 right there. Actually, top 6, excuse me. All 6 of those guys who could very well be in championship contention going into the finale race later on this year. And I know for some of you who may not be running as well, you might not appreciate it as much, but as someone who runs the series and is a fan of the series, just seeing it play out like that is so much fun. And we're going to see these guys up front a lot this year. The ratings have come in, guys, and it's going to be very fascinating leading up to the finale of the regular season at New Hampshire. Take a look at the rest of the results right there, and a little bit of a mishap right there. We'll have to figure that out. I think it might have been 2 of the Sprint Series drivers that may not have popped in there. I think it was been Corey Case and, what was it, Brandon Nelson. And
oh, yes.
I don't exactly know why that was the case. And I don't know who finished where. With that being a Sprint Series driver, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. My apologies to Corey Case and Brandon Nelson, but we'll fix that in the points. We'll get that figured out. All full-time guys are still here, though. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. I think we had, invisible cars in that race. So there's your goofy thing. I tell you, I can't get one regular race to save my life. But I do not see Corey Case and Brandon Nelson in this list in 00. So none of the full-time guys are affected with that. And yeah, we'll go with that. We'll pretend we didn't see it. There's the rest of it right there. Turner, Oskin, Garcia, Paulus Jr., Roberto Gano Jr., Kirsten Bell, Justin Zeidel, Brad Stover, all finishing a lap down. A lot of them finished a lap down naturally. Kirsten Bell had an issue in this one. That's tough for her because, you know, she's in that wildcard battle, but that extra win that she had last week isn't really going to help her outside of the points she gained from that. And then Justin Zeidel, Brad Silver also had issues. But another caution-free race is 2 weeks in a row here in the Wawa Cup Series. But what a brilliant race there. And that was a lot of fun seeing Ladovic, Charette, and Drew Webb go after it for that race win.
Yeah, definitely will. But hey, kudos, by the way, to Michael Lewis for finishing 7th out there for Appalachian Motorsports. You know, with this, I'm sure the Sprint Series drivers are definitely the future of AG Racing. But hey, well, at least we had a crazy race here. Well, I thought it's gonna be Drew Webb. I thought it's gonna be Rogaldorn. I thought I jinxed Nicolas Samadio again. But hey, I believe this.
You know, it's still a good run for him. That wasn't a true jinx right there. That was a good run for him.
Yeah, fair point. But hey, at least with the way they are racing right now, I know this is going to be a competitive. Even I'm sure if we're going to enter the chase season, I'm sure even the non-chasers are going to still battle it out all the way. But hey, I'm sure Ludovic Charette is very happy. I'm sure Stewart is happy, and I'm sure going in, maybe once we reach into Dakota, I'm sure this race is going to be packed as the locals are gonna support Ludovic Charette in that race. That's for sure.
You know, I was really thinking, you know, and this is kind of how I thought it was going to be. That Ludovic Charette was going to go winless up until that race in Montreal, and he was going to win Montreal, and he could very well still win Montreal, but that's going to be a huge race for him, and that won't be too long from now. We still got a lot of other races to go until we get to our next road course of the season. Of course, next week we're at our one of our favorite historical, sad to say, historical racetracks, Auto Club Speedway, next Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, or it actually might be a slight bit later depending on how late the truck race goes, so just keep that in mind from Darlington, the real-life truck race, by the way. That is next Friday night for the Napa 400. Matt Tuck got that win there last year, and you know what? We're going to see something very similar here tonight, where Grattan Autosport, Drew Webb, Nicolas Samadio, Rogaldorn, Angel Gutierrez, they're all going to be running up front, and could be very well be one of those guys getting the victory. But how about Ludovic getting it done here tonight, finally getting his first career Wawa Cup Series race victory, and he beat Drew Webb to do it too. So, you know that was a legit win, and how about Ludovic and Grattan Autosport getting it done here tonight at Kansas. Well, thank you so much for joining me here, Joe. Great to have you in the booth finally, and hey, we'll have you a couple more times throughout the season as well. And hey, how about if you're Ludovic Charette there? We'll see how well he stacks up in the points, because this points, we're going to see some new faces in that top 10, and Charette and Samadio might be a couple of those names. Thank you so much for watching once again. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and of course, next week we're going to be at the Auto Club Speedway on Monday. I gotta really hype this one up. GNC Stunt Road and the Body Armor Pro Series. I tell you, we're gonna have fun with that one. We're just gonna have a blast there on the Supercross track. We don't care. Next Monday night at 8, it's Dirt Extreme 5 in the Body Armor Pro Series. And then we've got ourselves the second race in the Dash for Cash for the HERS Sprint Series at Oregon. And then we're at Auto Club in the Wawa Cup Series. So we got a lot of great stuff coming up. And hey, 3 weeks from now, it's the Indianapolis 250. Indy 250 week starts in 2 weeks. I gotta start working on it. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to Ludovic Charette on his race victory. Here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series, and I will see you guys later.